AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.
The guys that Players Choice, they got top 75 player John Stockton over SGA.
There's no way you guys are mad at me for saying Shai's better than John Stockton.
Shai's not better than Stockton.
At his best, at his best, the efficiency, the assist to turnover ratio, him on the defensive side of the ball, how he controlled the pace of the game, the point guard that he was, how smart he was. At his best, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not better than John Stockton. No way.
There is
No way. Flea gotta go first because his brother's up here wilding on these internet streets. I want to hear what you got to say about John Stockton. No way SGA clears John Stockton. What's going on here, Flea? What's up with your mans?
Well, I don't understand. I mean, I like logical comparisons. Let's start there. I like logical comparisons. Let's start there. But if we're gonna have fun, I guess I can't even see how we compare the two, really. And I think it's really early to even do that. The body of work that Stockton put together, there's two records that Stockton holds that nobody will ever break. We thought the scoring title would never be broke. That assist record will never be broke. It's not, nobody's even coming close to doing that. That steals record, nobody's coming close to do it. Like, he's eons away from the second person in line. So, like, Shai got a lot to show and prove in terms of his game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a hell of a ball player, can put the ball in the basket, a 3-level scorer, which I don't think Stockton was at the same rate that Shai was. Because Stockton shoot the 3, yes. Because Stockton get to the rim, downhill, yes. Does Stockton have a mid-range? For sure. But the way that Shai gets to it it's just easier because he's 6'6". He's a 6'5" guard. So if we're just talking about basketball when height matters, when we talk about this game, we're talking about a big man's game. If you're going to ask me what guard do I want, if we're asking about the two guards, I'm going to go with the bigger guard just because he's bigger and he'd probably be able to do a lot more things for me. Defend a couple more positions, see over defenses while he's playing on the offensive end. That's not to slight John Stockton. He's a hell of a player. But I just feel like sometimes these nostalgic guys feel like they fucking untouchable. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a hell of a guard. And if at some point he's better than Stockton, I don't think that's a fucking crime. But right now, I think it's too early to say Shai is better. Stockton has done too much from the pure quintessential point guard position to say that Shai is better. Shai is evolving into a great combo guard. But what Stockton did to get guys involved and to coin what a point guard is, you can't take that away from him at all.
Lovely words from a great man, Flea himself, a legend in our circle. Oh boy. I'm sorry. Oh boy, what do you think about what Flea said and what these Players' Choice guys had to say? Mars and Chi-Town, if I'm not mistaken.
I kind of agree with Flea to a certain extent. He always, makes great points. But those guys over there at Players' Choice, I like their platform because, they remind me of us in such a way where they're not afraid to speak their mind and talk about topics that a lot of people don't even think about tackling. But when it comes to this one, Flea, you're correct. Because if SGA doesn't go to the NBA Finals this year, then what are we talking about? See, for me, we got to be very careful because the key word in this is point guard. SGA is not a point guard. We understand what the game is today, but he's not a point guard. John Stockton, like you said, Flea, is the cream of the crop when it comes to point guards, right? Now, of course, if you're looking at who would you rather have, let's not forget SGA is a beast on defense. Like you said, 6'6", can also do it all. But when it comes to what John Stockton did in that heyday, in that era, being undersized and getting to the finals twice and almost winning a championship against some considered the greatest to ever do it, and Michael Jordan, you know, we have to respect that. But Flea, you're correct. It's too early. It's too early. What John Stockton did in his career, it's too early to compare SGA to that. But I'm gonna be honest. You know, who would you rather have at the point guard position? Remember, they're not asking SGA to be a point guard to get others involved. Today, that position doesn't exist. Remember, the point guards now was giving you 30 with maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 assists, and they're not asking you to get everybody involved. It is different how you had to run the offense back then compared to now. So I think this is it looks lopsided because you're gonna just look at SGA and go, he's 6'6". He can catch alley-oops. He can shoot the three to mid-range. He can dunk. He's athletic, this, and that. And then when you look at John Stockton, he looks like an average human being.
But right there, OG, real quick. But right there, that goes to John Stockton's credit and to a lot of point guards' credits from yesteryear. Hear me out 2 seconds. When you think about these point guards from yesteryear, even Kenny Anderson, Kenny has said to us on many times, you got to feed the big man. You got to get it into the post when he was playing, right? Booker Smith always tells you, keep the big man happy, right? So what I'm saying to you is that those guys get a lot less shots to be efficient and be effective on the offensive end. SGA is going to get 15 shots off the rip, just trying to get comfortable, get in the rhythm, see what type of night I'm having. John Stockton may get 10 shots per night, and he better hit 6 of those bitches, 5 of those bitches, 4 of those bitches, because that's the only way he's going to be effective on the offensive end, because he got to get the ball to Malone. Yeah. I got to get it to Malone. I got to get it to Robinson. I got to get it to Hewan. I got to get it to those guys. These guys don't have to go inside to out now and worry about, if I'm going to get enough shots. SGA gonna get plenty of shots. John was great in the amount of shots that he got, what he was able to do with them. I just wanted to say that real quick.
No, that's a great point. Now I'll pass it to Fabian after this last point. I have to agree with Chilltown. I think John Stockton is a better point guard than SGA. And remember what I'm saying, point guard. I'm not saying guard. I'm not saying shooting guard, because you got to remember, SGA could give you a 50 clip, right? 6, 7 assists, great defense. But John Stockton may give you 15 points and 20 assists, 6, 7 steals. So for me, it's kind of, what do you like? You know what I mean? So I think, this comparison is definitely too early, because once again, if OKC flames out, because they're clearly one of the best teams in the NBA, it's either them or Boston. I like Cleveland, but I don't think Cleveland is in the same stratosphere with OKC and Boston. But if OKC flames out and SGA doesn't get to the finals, then what are we talking about? So for me, we have to be careful, and Flea, you're correct. John Stockton is top 5 greatest point guards of all time, whether people want to believe that or not. And like you said, with the steals and with the assists and what he did for that organization, running that offense, listen, we got to start giving that props. But I agree. I think now if we go on basketball or at the guard position, then I get it. SGA is clear cut. But if we're talking as a point guard, getting others involved, John Stockton is like no other. I'm taking John Stockton all day.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem, because I didn't hear that in that conversation. I heard him say, even as a point guard, I don't think the conversation was as a point guard. Because even as a point guard, the coach should be fired for keeping, if SGA played in 88 and he's running the point. For what? It's not his best attribute. He's not gonna, get the team going. But even if that was his role, John Stockton could not dominate a game like SGA. SGA is dominant. He's about to be an MVP this year.
Oh, time out. Let me just hold on. What do you mean John Stockton can't dominate a game? If he can dominate the game on the defensive end with steals, get you 15, 20 assists, you don't call that dominating? Run an offense? That's not dominating?
That's dominating in his own way, but name me a point guard that was in MVP consideration at that time. It's only Magic, because he was a giant. He was an outlier. That's what SGA would have been back then. If he's 6'6" at the point guard, he would have been destroying John Stockton. I don't care how dirty he was. This is a different level. I like John Stockton. I respect him. He is the quintessential guy. He plays, he gives the effort that we want any player to play with. The Tim Duncans of the world got it. We don't know if LeBron necessarily has that game in, game out. The thing that comes from John Stockton is the effort is there every night. And so is it is for SGA. He's just bigger, better, faster, stronger, all the above. He's just as smart. There's nothing John Stockton could do except for hopefully he gets the refs on his side that night. SGA is a 6'6" guy. We're talking about a career for a two guard that's in line with the Kobe's and the Jordans of the world. That's what he's up with. I don't think Stockton has careers that's with Magic in them. That's a different level. Now, in totality, John Stockton has a longer career than Magic Johnson, but at his peak, John Stockton might have been a top 3-point guard 2 or 3 seasons. SGA is now a top 2 guard in the league 2 or 3 years now. And I don't know what's harder to do, but this is just different. The game with basketball is getting that ball in the bucket, and SGA doesn't need anybody else to do that. Himself.
Hold on, and I don't know if she's gonna say I disagree. I think there's many ways to dominate a game, not only putting the ball in the bucket. I watched Dennis Rodman dominate games without scoring points. I watch a guy like Rondo dominate a game without really scoring, where, like I said, the assist. I've watched legends that was 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and Gary Payton, Baron Davis talk about John Stockton walking their ass down and busting their ass. So for me, I'm not going to allow nobody to tell me John Stockton can't dominate a game. It's just that SGA may dominate it giving you 50. Stockton may dominate it giving you 15, but he may give you 15, 20 assists. He may give you 5, 6 steals. And also, he may run that offense to the point where it'll drive you crazy. So I'm not going to argue who's better, but I can't let you say John Stockton can't dominate a game. That's false.
I'm not saying he can't dominate a game. I'm saying that at the level of this is easier for SGA to dominate. That's what the game is made for a guy like SGA to go out and do that. I think it's way easier for him to do it, and he does it. And he's gotten better. They both had a slow start to their career, it feels like. I just think SGA, when we talk about even when you bring up Rodman, elite level, but for how many years? Like Rodman had some years where he was a bug out in with the Spurs. He flamed out. He got saved with Chicago. Even the last year with Chicago, he was bugged out.
Michael Jordan, the league in rebounding in San Antonio's too.
Absolutely,
still did his job.
But
Western Conference Finals with that team, still did his job.
No way we can compare SGA's career right now to any one of Dennis Rodman's career, any one of his years in his career. That's not even comparable. I'm not going to take the defensive player of the year 2 times. Okay, you got him, but I got SGA who's an MVP candidate. You always take that guy over the Giannis of the world, Jokers of the world, and beating in the lands of Embiid and all that. That's the reason why we love Jordan so much. That's why you can't even compare Stockton to Jordan and all that. It's just not. SGA is right underneath. We were just talking about James Harden and D Wade. Yo, SGA is entering that conversation. Stockton could never.
I totally just. I'm gonna let Flea cook. SGA is not entering that conversation. This is the listen. I said this a while ago. The OKC Thunder and SGA is in their darling moments, just like with the Kansas City Chiefs. SGA did nothing yet to be involved in any of these conversations. Once again, if they don't get to the finals, that means all of this is null and void. I don't know what SGA did for him to be in those conversations with anybody. He didn't do anything yet. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying starting to be. That's how Michael Jordan started. MVP caliber. They were starting to dominate. I'm saying this is the beginning of that. And we would never see the beginning of an MVP, top 5, damn near top 10 player of all time in John Stockton. He's not that.
I mean, it's all about consistency and putting it together. What I always say, like, do it again. And right now, for the last couple of seasons, SGA has just been stacking the season. So I get what you're saying, OG. You got the door closed still a little bit. You can't let him in the room yet. I got it, because what has he done playoff-wise? We got a lot of playoff moments that we go back to with our all-time greats, the Kobe's, the Mikes, the LeBrons, the this, the that. We go back to plenty of playoff moments aside from what you've done in the regular season. At this point now, SGA has to get to the point where now we are thinking about postseason moments when we think about SGA. Damian Lillard comes to mind with so many big shots during the postseason to put his team in position to go, move on. So, nothing SGA has done in the postseason, in the playoffs, that puts him in the class with the guys that Fabian is mentioning. But absolutely, he's on his way. He just got to continue to stack them. And that's why I don't feel like we could even compare him to what Stockton did. Stockton stacked so many great years together, right? We're talking about a guy that at his height, he could do but so much. The NBA today right now is full of like just hoopers. There's not many designated guys that you could put in the spot and say, yo, this is the only position that you can play. John Stockton was a guy, the only position you could play was point guard. SGA, depending on the coach, depends on the where you're going to play him. Doc Rivers played him different than Dagnall is playing him. Then Scott, then whoever. You know what I'm saying? Like, SGA is a hooper. So you're going to see him in different lights now, especially as his career goes on. Stockton, that's a point guard, end the discussion. And so that's what makes it a little, it makes it a little difficult to have the discussion. But damn, that's a hell of a topic, fellas. I think we smoked that.
Right, but just real quick before we, end this off with the next topic, I'm just saying, for me, the reason why the door for me is still a little close for SGA, because there's other players that's right there with him. You still have the Joker. You still have guys like Luka, who's just in the finals. You have Ant-Man, who's just in the Western Conference Finals. So for me, we cannot continue to keep putting SGA up there when there's guys that's right there with him. SGA lost in the second round last season. So like I said, this season, depending on what happens, then maybe he could start creeping up there. Is he having a phenomenal last couple years and a phenomenal season? Yes. But there's others that are having phenomenal seasons as well. We watching what the Joker has been doing all season. We see what Ant-Man just did to the Lakers. And like I said, Luka last year with Dallas, and then we can't forget Giannis a couple years ago was just so dominant. So for me, that's what slows me down with SGA. He is not that, he does not have a super duper gap over those guys I just named. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. He just has a way better basketball team.
Right, but John Stockton could never be in this conversation, is my point. So even at whatever you do, however you get down, it didn't have you in top 3 MVP consideration. SJ's been there for 2 seasons now. AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.